All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. 5 key signs that your training program, your current training program, is going to be successful, but also sustainable. Too often, and obviously this is a conversation that comes up time and time again, is what are the characteristics that you're looking for within a training program that are going to kind of somewhat guarantee that it's going to, it's going to stand the test of time. You're going to be able to kind of continuously see results in your physical output in terms of potentially preventing injury, but also seeing that you're getting stronger, fitter, faster. But it's also not taking away from your general health too dramatically. Now, there's always a fine line when we're working towards kind of optimal performance. We're going to have to push the boundaries. We're going to be kind of not playing with fire, but you're going to be having to push the limit of your capacity, of your potential. And you're going to compromise aspects of your health, sleep, your energy availability, you're going to get niggly at times, you're going to be sore at times. But essentially, what I want to be able to share with you today is 5 key signs that you're on the right track, that you're moving in the right direction, and that this program that you're about to embark upon, you're about to start, it's literally, you can almost like a tick list. So the first one is your previous training experience is being considered. Starting any type of training program with your previous training experience being considered has to be right at the top of the list. Knowing, like, whatever coaching program you're working from, we want to make sure that the way it's delivering your program, the way it's creating your program is based off your individual requirements, your needs, your backgrounds. Understanding like how consistent your training's been up until that point, how long you've been participating in the sport for. At what level are you looking to come in at this at? And that will be defined by obviously potentially the volume of training that you're able to tolerate on a week-to-week basis, the complexity of the type of training that you're doing. Are you training on your own, training in a club? Are you training? Are you very used to kind of putting in track interval efforts into your body? Are you used to riding with a club, or swimming with a club? Whatever your environment is, understanding what that context looks like. Have you been coached before? Do you understand how to read from a program? Like, what's your basic understanding of like working with a program? Because without that, we're just going to be putting a lot of, not noise, but a lot of information on you very, very quickly. And with obviously, there's a lot of expectation that comes with that. Understanding how much rest is required, what it's meant to feel like. If you are starting to kind of pick up like those little key coaching cues as you're moving into a session, throughout a session, this can obviously be autonomous behavior if you've followed a coaching program before, you've been coached before, you've got a good run up until this point in terms of the consistency of training. Or alternatively, you're just starting out. It's the first time you're working from a training program. You've never really kind of read from a Training Peaks account. You've never really worked from whatever the app you're working from. And, no matter no matter what the level of gamification is in terms of the app that you're working with, how well it is to interact with it, does it really understand who you are? And this will take us on to the second point, and it's understanding your previous injury history. So not only is it important to understand your training history, so like your level of experience, but the state of your body, like understanding like what's your physiology look like. Again, the expectation when you're starting a training program is that you're about to jump into a program that's going to be putting a lot of volume, or progressively putting a lot of volume, intensity, complexity, depending on the exercises, the type of sessions that you're working from, onto your body. Are you good for it? What type of screening procedure, qualitative, so questions that are being asked of you, but also quantitative, so what data is being collected right at the beginning of the program that's going to sort of help you establish what that starting point is. A lot of people are starting programming with none of this being considered. And then they are left kind of almost just to kind of fend for themselves when that volume starts to put pressure on them, starts to lean on their body, starts to ask more of them, and potentially that capacity for work isn't being there. And obviously I'm sugarcoating it here, guys, because you know where I'm going with this is like, if you're going into a program having not fully rehabilitated an injury in the past, having had a checkered injury history, and then you're about to, you're kind of aware that you've got some niggles going on at the moment, and then you're just about to start a program that is literally not taking any of that into consideration and just taking you on face value, it's going to leave you to quarterback that. You're going to be the one that's going to be having to like navigate the program that's put in front of you. And this is obviously what comes up time and time again, where people are literally having to make up their own sessions within the program that they're being prescribed. They're having to like take things away, replace things, maybe leave that session out, and it's all kind of mix and match. But which potentially is something that you're used to doing. Potentially it could be seen as sustainable if you've got, but the risk the risk that you start to play with along the way. And there's a wear and tear when you start to kind of play around with training load. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You will do this session, you won't do that session. It's the wear and tear. It's that accumulation of like of fatigue that's starting to build up in your body as you're putting more and more training into your body. And if you're not being held accountable to those previous injuries, then they are going to start to rear their ugly head. And maybe not immediately in that said problem area that you've had before. Maybe it's going to start to appear in other areas of your body. Like you're going to start to experience it in your hip instead of what used to be your knee. But it's just where you're starting to create overload and overwhelm in your body. A great program is going to be integrating S&C. It's going to be integrating injury rehabilitation work alongside your training program to ensure that your body can continue to tolerate. Number 3, contraception, understanding your blood and hormonal health. This has now become a much more kind of openly discussed topic of conversation within the training community. People are very much aware of I'd like to think you guys would be very aware listening to the podcast that, we can get these performance blood tests done now. And we all, at some point, would benefit hugely from having one. Why? Because we're all going through different phases of our life. There's different stresses or different chapters of our life where there's a hell of a lot more stress placed on our body, both with work, family life, but also physiologically, like our body is up regulating in hormone, down regulating in hormones. We're obviously utilizing contraception, synthetic hormones to kind of manipulate our own endocrine system. But what are the implications of that? High training loads, not knowing if you've got a regular menstrual cycle or not, whether you're ovulating, whether you've got high or low or average levels of testosterone, estrogen, progesterone in your system. These are all we need to know these basics as human beings, because they're the underpinning, they're the foundation pieces. Again, starting a program that never asks you this, and that puts you into 52 weeks of high volume endurance training with some deloads and tapers thrown in there, but you're doing all of that on a body that has been very low in iron, ferritin, testosterone, just general energy availability. You're low in your micronutrients, macronutrients. Like you can really unpack all of that. And by understanding your blood and hormonal health from day one, it's just going to optimize your training. It's going to give you much better recovery. It's going to give you much better return of investment. You're investing money into this program. You are obviously wanting to invest a lot of time and effort getting your house in order and understanding what your blood and hormonal health it looks like. Absolutely gold standard. But it's available to all of us now. Once upon a time, this was elite level thinking, only available in institutes of sport, etc. We now live in a world where you can do it, through the post. You can literally get a venous blood draw from your nurse. That can be sent off, and you can be looked at by a sports doctor, a specialist that's going to be able to look into that. This is what we do at SFE. It's just something that we look to tick a box with. It really, really helps us understand whether we can put a lot more work into this person, and they're good for it. This helps us prevent, obviously, that individual from picking up random injuries in the future. Bone stress injuries are going to be heavily linked with osteopenia, osteoporosis, where you're just wearing the body down to a place where you are actually damaging the cellular structure of your bones. Understanding that, though, if you don't have good estrogen, you're going to struggle to create good, healthy amounts of lean muscle tissue. Understanding that if you want to have children, you want to navigate the menopause, like understanding where your hormones are going to be hugely critical to your overall health. Number 4, strength and conditioning. I'm always going to sell this to you guys because it's the underpinning of everything. Like good strength and conditioning within your body, it's going to allow you to tap into anything else you want to do with your body. Good, you want to make sure you've got good balance, good coordination. You want good proprioception. You want to make sure you've got good, stable, strong joint structures. You want to have good lean muscle tissue wrapping around your body. You want to have relatively good holistic levels of strength across the body. Yes, you are a running purist, a cyclist, a swimmer. Maybe you're a bit of a multi-sport athlete. It doesn't matter. Like we want to make sure that you are sound of body. And to do that, we want to make sure that you are following some form of personalized, individualized strength and conditioning program that is going to integrate and be threaded all the way through, because that's going to help make sure that you are going to keep doing what you do. It's going to help prevent injury. It's going to make sure we're getting on top of that previous injury history that we talked about. It's going to make sure that you can just keep doing what you want and you're good for it. Well, how does this look? Well, guys, it's not just going to be throwing a bunch of exercises into your program. It's going to take a little bit more care on a week-to-week basis, looking at where your problem pinch points are and calling you out on them. No, we need to drill this. We need more exercises in your warm-ups, in your recovery. We need some better behaviors in and around your S&C work, whether it's training from home, gym. But that wants to be in there the whole way through, guys, because it's just going to help support your performance all the way through the years. I mean, we're talking decades ahead and in the future. You're putting in this work now and then maintaining it all the way through. And it is the secret, by integrating these types of behaviors. And then the last one, a sustainable program is going to fit in around your lifestyle. It has to. We are living in a world where we can do and we can populate our diaries so heavily now that there is very little white space. And if we do have white space, we're going to put in some social activities, some family time, some personal time, whatever it is. We're going to stack the deck. But we've got to make sure that our training program is being adjusted around our lifestyle. We're not having to, again, mix and match when trying to cram things in at different times, because that, guys, just promotes overtraining again. Like, we're going to be overreaching at these key moments where we don't need to be. A little conversation in the background telling you to back off, let that session slide, build into the weekends, focus on those A sessions of the week, because you've got work commitments, you're traveling with work, you've got family commitments, you've got pressures from elsewhere in your life. That is all part of the conversation. And again, sustainable, successful training. How can we guarantee it? It's because you're working from a program that is working with you. Like, it's literally managing it. And if you're someone who's sitting there going, yeah, it's all well and good, obviously, maybe you can't afford to work with a coach right now, that's fine. But have these processes in place, program that you're working with, it's a template, it's generic, whatever it is, it's something that is kind of fits the bill. Well, then take these principles, guys, that I've been talking through today, and literally start to apply some better logic to it and go, right, I can't, and that bit, it tells me week 13, I've got to be doing this, this, and this. I'm traveling, I'm away, I'm at work. You've got to have this ability to forecast ahead. Don't just be led by this program. It's never going to be enough. And you'll get caught out along the way. And that's the last thing we want. What we want is this relentless consistency. But to achieve that, what do we need to be considering along the way? And it's these key points. So, successful and sustainable training program, 5 traits. Previous training experience understood and kind of taken into consideration. Previous injury history understood, and obviously making sure that we're kind of integrating the appropriate rehabilitation work into your training. Contraception, blood, hormonal health, man, woman, young, old, understanding the complexity of that, understanding what this individualized strength and conditioning program would look like for you, how that integrates alongside everything else you've got going on. And then, as I say, taking into consideration your family, life, and other stresses that we've got going on and we're managing. Take those 5 things into consideration and you will find yourself in a place where you're just ticking along very nicely. You're moving from one event to another, and you just seem to be operating at a level that you didn't think maybe was possible. But evidence, guys, is obviously what this, the results-based industry that we're in terms of coaching, and we have a lot of it because we are constantly thinking about these variables all the time with your training. This is what I'm thinking about all the time with everyone, if I was working with you. And this is obviously what we'd love to be able to kind of take your hand, show you what this looks like, physically feel what this looks like, however busy you are, however hectic your training program is, however full your race calendar is. Reach out, let us know, because these are the sort of things we'd love to go into the weeds with you and give you far more accountability, far more direction, and then obviously take it away with you and really and keep doing it, because this is what sustainable and successful training looks like. So, guys, I hope that was useful. As always, any questions, love to go into the details with you. So reach out, get in touch, and we'll speak again soon.